Most families do not stay broke because they ignore money advice. They stay broke because they ignore money advice that is thousands of years old. And darling, the shocking part is this. Some of the strongest financial rules ever written were not hidden in Wall Street textbooks. They were sitting in the Bible, quietly, patiently, watching us finance sofas at 28% interest. But let me tell you about a family I once met. We'll call them the Harris family. Good people. Church on Sundays, 2 incomes, 3 children, a house with a wreath on the door that changed with every season, because apparently even the front door needed a lifestyle brand. From the outside, they looked stable. Inside, they had $18,400 on credit cards, 2 car payments, a personal loan from a temporary emergency that had somehow celebrated its third birthday. And every month, before they bought groceries, before they saved a dollar, before they even breathed, yesterday got paid first, minimum payments, late fees, the ghosts of decisions that looked small at the time. Then one Friday, their oldest daughter came home with a letter. She had been accepted into a college program she had dreamed about for 2 years. The deposit was $750, not tuition, not housing, just the deposit. And her mother sat at the kitchen table, staring at that letter like it was written in another language. Because they did not have $750. Darling, not because they were lazy. They earned over $110,000 a year, but their future had already been spent in pieces. A sofa here, a vacation there, a driveway that looked successful while the bank account quietly bled. And that night, the father said something I have never forgotten. He said, "We gave our children everything except options." Now, before anyone gets nervous, this is not a sermon. This is money wisdom with better lighting. The Bible talks about money with a level of clarity that would make most financial influencers deeply uncomfortable. Because ancient money wisdom does not flatter us. It does not say, "You deserve it." It says, "Can you afford it?" Very rude, very useful. And the first secret begins with the one line nobody wants to hear when the new car smells divine. Secret 1. Debt is not just math, it is control. Proverbs says the borrower becomes servant to the lender, not customer, not lifestyle participant. Servant, that is a brutal word. Because debt does not just take money, it takes options. A family with $900 in monthly debt payments loses more than cash. They cannot leave a toxic job as easily. They cannot absorb a medical bill peacefully. They cannot build wealth while yesterday is still sending invoices. That is why the biblical view of debt is so sharp. Debt changes the power structure of a household. The lender gets paid before the family dreams do. Modern families call it normal. The Bible called it servitude. And honestly, darling, ancient Proverbs understood debt better than half the internet. Secret 2. Pay what you owe before you upgrade what you own. Romans says to let no debt remain outstanding except love. That is not anti-money. That is anti-chaos. There is a quiet kind of financial madness that happens when a family improves the appearance of life before repairing the foundation of life. New furniture while carrying credit card balances, a vacation while the emergency fund is gasping, a kitchen remodel while the student loan is sitting in the corner like a judgmental ant. The biblical rule is painfully practical. Do not decorate bondage. Pay what you owe, then upgrade what you own. Because when debt is unpaid, every beautiful purchase carries a little shadow behind it. The handbag is not just a handbag. It is a handbag plus interest. A dinner plus next month's regret. And families that break debt stop asking, "Can we make the payment?" They ask, "Does this make us freer?" That question changes everything. Secret 3. Plan in seasons, not moods. Proverbs says diligent plans lead to abundance while haste leads to poverty. Notice the contrast. Not talent, not luck. Planning versus haste. This is where many families quietly lose the plot. They plan Christmas in December, school expenses in August, taxes in April, car repairs when the dashboard starts blinking like a tiny financial demon. Biblical money wisdom is seasonal. Joseph stored grain during 7 abundant years because famine does not send a calendar invite. When income is strong, do not behave as if winter has been canceled. Build the emergency fund. Pay down the dangerous debt. Replace the tires before they become a roadside opera. Because life charges extra when you are desperate. The family that plans in seasons does not panic every time the season changes. They already knew rain was part of the weather. Secret 4. Never co-sign a financial storm. Proverbs warns against putting up security for another person's debt. And this is one of the least popular biblical money secrets because it sounds unkind. It is not unkind. It is realistic. There is a difference between helping someone and financially tying your oxygen mask to their bad decisions. Families often destroy stability through emotional lending. A cousin needs a car, an adult child needs an apartment, a sibling needs just your signature, and suddenly, love has become a legal document. If you can afford to give, give. If you cannot afford to lose it, do not guarantee it. That is the rule. Because co-signing does not make you supportive, it makes you responsible. Generosity should have boundaries. Otherwise, it becomes financial self-harm wearing Sunday shoes. Secret 5. Honest numbers build strong families. Proverbs talks about honest scales. In ancient markets, dishonest scales meant cheating people by weighing goods unfairly. Today, the dishonest scale is often inside the home. A family says, "We are doing fine," while the credit card balance grows. They say, "It was on sale," while the account goes negative. They say, "We can afford it," because the monthly payment technically fits. That is not budgeting. That is financial theater. Honest numbers are uncomfortable at first, but they are merciful. A family cannot fix what it keeps flattering. The forgotten biblical secret is this: be honest with your own household. Know the real debt number. Know how much interest is stealing. Know what the lifestyle actually costs. Because once the number is named, the monster becomes smaller. Still ugly, but smaller. Secret 6. Store before you spend. Joseph did not wait for famine to become financially responsible. During years of plenty, he stored surplus before crisis arrived. That is the principle. Store before you spend. Modern families often do the opposite. They spend the bonus, then finance the emergency. They spend the tax refund, then borrow for the tires. They spend the raise, then wonder why the larger income did not create peace. But the biblical pattern is clear. Abundance has a job. Surplus is not permission to inflate the lifestyle. Surplus is protection for the future. Even a small family reserve changes the emotional temperature of a home. A $1,000 emergency fund will not make you rich, but it can stop a flat tire from becoming a credit card spiral. Because debt often does not begin with luxury. It begins with one ordinary problem the family was not ready for. Secret 7. Divide your portion. Ecclesiastes says to divide your portion among 7, even 8, because you do not know what disaster may come. In modern language, darling, that is diversification before it had a brokerage app. Do not put the entire family future in one fragile place. Not one income, not one skill, not one dream that only works if nothing goes wrong. Families build resilience by refusing to let one broken thing destroy everything. One job loss should not erase the future. One car repair should not become a credit card spiral. One teenager should not grow up thinking debt is just a normal adult subscription. This is not fear, it is stewardship. Because the future is rude. It rarely arrives according to plan. And when it knocks, diversified families do not collapse as quickly. They bend, not glamour, not perfection. Financial flexibility. Secret 8. Leave wisdom before you leave money. Proverbs says a good person leaves an inheritance for children's children. Most people hear that and think only of money. But inheritance begins long before the will is read. A child who watches parents avoid money conversations inherits fear. A child who watches debt get hidden inherits confusion. A child who watches status get worshipped inherits appetite. But a child who hears, "We do not buy what enslaves us," inherits a filter. A child who sees debt paid down inherits discipline. A child who understands giving, saving, earning, and waiting inherits a financial spine. Families that build a future do not only pass down assets, they pass down instincts, and instincts compound. One generation normalizes debt, the next generation normalizes payments, the next generation wonders why freedom feels impossible, but one generation can interrupt it. One honest budget, one paid-off card, one child learning that money is not for showing off. It is for building options. Secret 9. Generosity must be built into the system. Biblical money wisdom does not teach hoarding. It teaches stewardship. But here's the part people miss. Generosity works best when it is planned. If giving is only emotional, it becomes chaotic. If generosity has no limits, resentment follows. The wiser approach is simple. Build giving into the household system, not as pressure, as a family decision. That way, generosity stops being emotional damage control. It becomes part of the family identity. And ironically, planned generosity often makes families more disciplined, because when you decide money has a purpose beyond impulse, every dollar starts standing straighter. Secret 10. Contentment is a financial weapon. Contentment is often misunderstood. People think it means having no ambition. No, darling, contentment means your desires are not allowed to run the household like spoiled little executives. The Bible repeatedly warns against greed because greed is expensive. Greed says, you are behind. Contentment says, compared to what? Greed says, they have more. Contentment says, but do they have peace? The family that practices contentment can still build wealth, often faster, because they are not constantly bleeding money to impress people who are too distracted to notice. Contentment lowers the cost of happiness, and when happiness gets cheaper, wealth gets easier. You do not break debt only by earning more. You break debt by needing less performance from your spending. So what does this look like on Monday morning? Not dramatic. Start with one family reset. First, name the debt without shame. Not, we are bad with money, just the number. Second, choose the first debt to attack. High interest first, or smallest balance first. Pick the method your family will actually finish. Third, build a small emergency wall, even $500, something between your family and the next ordinary disaster. Fourth, create one seasonal plan. Christmas, taxes, school costs, the expenses that are not surprises, just neglected appointments. Fifth, teach the next generation out loud. Let children hear the sentence, we are using money to build freedom, not appearances. That sentence alone could save them 10 years, maybe 20. The forgotten biblical money secrets are not glamorous. They do not sparkle. They do not promise that you can become rich by Tuesday if you journal beside a candle. Older, sharper, less flattering. Debt makes you less free. Planning beats panic. Surplus needs a job. Risk must be spread. Numbers must be honest. Generosity needs structure. Children inherit what they observe, and contentment protects wealth before investing ever multiplies it. A family breaks debt when it stops treating money like a reaction and starts treating it like a covenant, not just between you and your bills, but between you, your future, and the people who will copy what you made normal. That is how families build more than money. They build a way out.